Hey, sports fans, Larry Eater, Run Blog Run. This is the semi on schedule conversations with Larry. And today, my deep topic is the Nike Prefontaine Classic. The Nike Prefontaine Classic began in 1975, right after the death of Steve Prefontaine. Steve died May 30th, 1975. He was 24 years old. At the time, he had the American records from 2,000 to 10,000. To say that he was bigger than Matt Centrowitz or Jakob Ingebrigtsen in the U.S. is an understatement. He was kind of a combination of, Mick Jagger, and, one of the top American football players now. He was opinionated. His races followed his opinion. And the only thing he failed at, and it wasn't, failure is the wrong word, is he wanted desperately to take a medal in the 5,000 meters in 1972 in Munich. He came within centimeters of that, caught by one Ian Stewart, the European and Commonwealth champion at 5,000 meters, caught him at the line for the bronze. Steve Prefontaine was, according to his friends, had a really difficult time after that, had a really dark time after that, but he pulled himself back, and in 1974 and 75 was, again, set records from 2,000 meters to 10,000 meters. Was still getting beat by people, but he was, he had run a couple 10,000s. He looked pretty promising, too. And in fact, at the time of his death, he had put together a small circuit of meets in Oregon where he brought in Finnish athletes and athletes from around the world. And in fact, when Viren pulled out, Lassi Viren, the 1972 gold medalist in 5 and 10, he asked Frank Shorter, the 72 gold medalist in the marathon, and a frequent training partner and race competitor, to run a 5,000 with him, and they ran a pretty decent 5,000. Steve ran 13:22, I think the number 3 time in the world that year, and Frank 13:26. Not bad for a marathoner, huh? And a guy who just had, I think he had a wisdom tooth taken out too. Tom Jordan has been the man steering the Prefontaine Classic since 1970. I think the meet began again in 75, 76. It was known as the Oregon Renovation Meet. Because they were trying to raise some money to renovate the Hayward Field at the time. But this year, the meet is, thank God, back on. It's also back at Hayward Field, the new Hayward Field that Phil Knight and his wife donated almost $280 million to. I was there for a couple meets in when one's in May, and then for the entire Olympic trials, and it was fantastic. It's a great sanctuary to track and field. But I wanted to give you my deep thoughts on the Prefontaine Classic, which will be held on Friday night, August 20th, and Saturday, August 21st. Deep thought 1, Sifan Hassan, 5K world record attempt. She's trying to run 14:06:25. A couple weeks later, she's going to go after the 10,000 to try to get it back from Sebet Gidey, who she soundly defeated in Tokyo in the 10,000. Let me tell you that I think this is going to be the toughest record that she's attempted. Sifan is a racer, but she's also has the world records at the hour and at the mile. So she's got speed and she's got endurance. Can she get this one? I think so. With really good weather and great support, you can see anywhere from 13:57.5 to 14:05. If it's a little bit off, you could see a 14:11. This is a masterful time, so don't discount it. Number 2, Shakira Richardson. She's back, as you know, for a dope charge, marijuana charge. She was banned for 30 days, which created some controversy. I think that it was important for her not to compete in Tokyo, but it'll create a lot of excitement because she's competing against Elaine Thompson the double winner in the 100, and she also won the 100 and 200 first time for a woman in the Olympics. Shelly Ann Fraser-Price and Sharika Jackson, all three of the medalists, plus an incredible field in the women's 100, maybe the second best field in everything in pre. But can Shakira win? She can. Let's just see where she's at. Let's see if she's race ready. And that one, I don't know. You're going to have to watch the race. The men's 100 and 200 stars will be in the 100 meters. That's my D.3. Andre de Grasse, Fred Curley, everybody but the Italian winner, Marcel Jacobs. I think it should be fun. Ronnie Baker's going to be there. And and Justin Gatlin, a lot of people duking it out to run a fast 100 at Hayward Field, which has had some very, very fast hundreds. My deep thought 4, who can beat Faith Kipyegon? You know, in the 1500, she's run, 351.7. And look what she did in defending her Olympic titles, winner at both Rio and at Tokyo. Her gold medal in 2017 was followed in 19 by a silver medal. She had her baby between 17 and 19. For her to come back that quick, I think, is amazing. But my belief is Faith Kipyegon is the finest 1,500-meter women runner in the world. And I love the genuine joy she has when she wins races. Women's high jump. So you have Yaroslava Mahuchnik, who I've just destroyed her name, Yaroslava Mahuchik, who we watched in 2020 go 2:04 and 2:06. We hope, if Maria Lazinskina got her visa, is competing against Maria Lazinskina. We think that Vashti Cunningham will be there as well, and we hope Nicola McDermott will be there as well too. But the women's high jump looks to be pretty deep. Now, they're not doing a men's 5,000 this year, but they're doing a men's 2 mile. And this gets exciting because most of us ran 2 miles in high school. Most of you guys ran 3,200s. My best high school 2 mile was 10:26 on a 11-lap track, all dirt at Bellarmine back then, before they had a really nice track in San Jose. And to see guys go near 8 minutes or under 8 minutes is really going to be a treat. And I think someone can go near Daniel Coleman's 7:58, for 2 miles. And who do I pick? I think Joshua Cheptegei, but he's going to have Mo Ahmed right there on Wisconsin. He's also going to have Paul Chalimo. That field is stacked. And if everybody doesn't run PBs in it, I'll be really, really surprised. 2 miles, 8 laps on the track, or just under 8 laps on the track, should be a lot of fun. Pablo Pichardo, deep thoughts, triple jump, Hughes Fabrice Zango, first medal for his country, Burkina Faso, the 100th country to get a medal in the Olympic Games. Hughes is a amazing athlete, very well talented. Will Clay, Christian Taylor gave him total respect at the World Champs in Doha when we did the medal presser there, and we've got that. We'll post that up there for you guys again to see. But I'd like to see Hughes make Pablo work for it. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Deep Thought 8, women's 800 meters. My gosh. The women's 800 was one of the best events in Tokyo. Hatheng Mu and Keely Hodgkinson, and then Raven Rogers pulling that come from way, way back kind of a thing that makes me, want to have to take some extra heart medication. But anyway, it's going to be a great field. Hatheng and Keely, Raven Rogers, and there's going to be some spoilers in that race too. So that should be a lot of fun. And then finally, my Deep Thought 9, Ryan Krauser. Ryan Krauser is a shot put genius. He is the Leonardo da Vinci of the shot put. The guy understands throwing. The guy loves throwing. The guy loves to compete, and yet he's at top form. He's not painting a Sistine Chapel. He's breaking world records in the shot put, and that's pretty cool. Can he break his 27:37? world record? I think he can. And I seem to recall, there may have been a senior moment, but I seem to recall during the American Track League, excuse me, had to have a little bit of Trader Joe's Joe coffee. I seem to remember him saying that he thought 2350 could be done this year. I think he's ready to do it. I think that, as Tom Walsh told me, the key for Ryan is for him to get out of his own way, to relax a little bit and relax in his throwing, relax in his when he competes, and let's see what he can do. He set a world record in Eugene the last time he was there, so let's see what he can do this time. And then final note about the Prefontaine, I'm going to truly miss Tom Jordan, and I don't think that people have given Tom the gratitude and the respect that he deserves. For almost 3 decades, the only chance that we got to see in the U.S. of European-type summer competition was the Prefontaine. I believe I missed it only 2 or 3 years during those 30 years. There were some great performances. It was always a great time to hang out with friends. There was a fun gathering among agents and folks and athletes. And so it was really a good time, but the competition was brilliant. 3 hours of back-to-back Olympic-style European class races. And it showed off the prestige of Hayward Field. It showed off the importance of track and field to the Nike brand. Several years, I recall Mark Parker telling me that the Prefontaine was in their DNA, track and field was in their DNA. And each year, John Capriati, who's now involved with the meet and working with Tom and Mike Riley, it is the way that Nike shows that they are supporting the sport. The majority of their stars are there almost every year. And again, back-to-back wonderful races, great announcing, wonderful TV. It's the total package. And the Friday nights have been a lot of fun, although I know they've been frustrating for Tom. But I've really enjoyed it from the time they had a 25K world record down to some just great long jumps and shot puts. And the first time that Mo Farah ran a 10,000 meter was at the Friday night Prefontaine. And it was called, I think, just Jeff Hollister night at the time, in honor of the great and late Jeff Hollister, who was the first Nike promo guy working with Steve Prefontaine. So if Steve was alive today, I think he'd be sitting up in the stands with a very large veggie burrito and a can of Coors in a paper bag in his duck sweats and shades and enjoying 3 hours of track and field, because he loved track and field. He liked to watch Mac Wilkins throw the discus, and he knew about the field events and respected the work that athletes put into the sport he loved. That is his legacy. You know, he would like to see more people interested in track and field. He'd like to see the Eugene being a hub of track and field. He liked to travel, so he'd like to see Eugene as one of the fun places that he would go. And I think he'd be very tickled to see a World Championships in Eugene, where he spent 4 crazy years 4 or 5 crazy years as an athlete. So this is Larry Eder with RunBlogRun. That was my deep thoughts on the Prefontaine Classic. Thanks to Mike Deering, who'll be the guy who has to get this together so I can get it up in time. And thank you to you, our audience, who checks this out. And we will see each other at a track meet soon. Take care.